Hey guys, what's going on? Josh the Millennial Reefer here, and today I am going to show you how I am drilling and plumbing my reef tank. For my overflow box, I am using the ESOP's Eclipse Large Overflow. It is rated for up to 1,000 gallons per hour of flow. I bought this off Bulk Reef Supply. I'll leave the link to what I bought in the description below. Shout out to Bulk Reef Supply. They're the best place that you can buy anything online. So I'm just doing a quick unboxing of this. You know what? It's only 150 bucks, and for 150 bucks, the build quality and what I'm getting out of it is not that bad. It's a really sleek design. When it's in your tank, it's black. I ended up painting the back glass black, so you can't even notice it when it's in the tank, which is wonderful. My only complaint, though, is it gives you a stencil on how to level it on the backside of your tank when you're drilling, so it doesn't really show you where it's going to be. The front side or the wet side is going to be inside the tank. But I get it open, and when you open it, it's nice and wrapped. I mean, no complaints, nothing was damaged, everything came out just the way it should. It comes with the 3 bulkheads right there and the 2 that go into the tank, and it comes with a little cover to help minimize noise. So it's a nice little design. For 150 bucks, it's nice. I mean, honestly, it could be a little less, but you know what? You pay for what you get, and it's pretty good quality. I do like that you do get the diamond cut drill bit for this, so when you go to drill the tank, you don't have to go out and buy another drill bit, which is wonderful. But anyways, let's get on to drilling the tank. So, like I said, when I'm drilling the tank, it gives you this like acrylic cutout that you use for like a guide for drilling the tank. But my only complaint is if I were to drill it flush up against the black trim on the tank, I would not be able to fit the overflow box, the wet side, inside the tank. So what I had to do is I kind of had to guess. As you can see what I'm doing right here, I'm just kind of guessing where it should go, and I went about like about a centimeter below where I think it should, so it ends up being a nice snug fit. But the acrylic is nice because it's like an 1/8 inch acrylic. I really didn't measure, but it has these guides that are wonderful, because when you're using a drill bit, the worst thing you want it to do is to skate and leave scratches all over the backside of your tank, especially when you spent a lot of money. Oh, another tip when you're drilling a fish tank, this is actually the first time I ever drilled one, go ahead and put some styrofoam and some towels underneath the bottom of the tank, because if you're drilling through it and the glass falls, after you cut all the way through the glass, you could shatter the other side of the glass. So just make sure to have some thing to protect the back side of the glass for when you do drill through it. And have towels. You're going to need a lot of towels to get this thing drilled. I mean, I only show 2 right here, but man, I probably use like 4 or 5. So to get started, you start off by pouring a little bit of water inside the guide area, and then you just make sure to clean it. Once it gets really white and murky, I would just wipe it off and pour in some new water, and it kind of was pretty self-explanatory. After I pre-drilled the holes for each side of the overflow, I ended up just removing the guide because I felt like it was more of a hassle to clean when I was trying to dry everything off. But all in all, I think the drill turned out pretty good. You understand what I mean, like, once you start drilling it, you don't really need the guide anymore, because you kind of create these indentations inside the glass. One tip that's notification, so ignore that. One tip I would do when you are drilling the glass is to make sure you don't push on the glass. Just kind of let the weight of the drill bit do its thing. It may take a while. It ended up taking around about 5-10 minutes per hole, but it turned out pretty good for first time drilling glass. I only got a small little nick, as you can see right there, and everything else turned good. It actually didn't mess with the integrity of the glass, so I was okay with how it turned out. So the next thing I'm drilling are for the return pumps. Now, this is a trick my local fish store shared with me, and I wanted to share it with you. Again, I had to go get a smaller drill bit. I actually just borrowed the one from my local fish store. And what they told me to do is to take a small piece of PVC pipe that the drill bit fits into and use it as a guide, because if you don't have a guide, the drill bit's just going to skate all over the glass and you're just going to scratch it up. So the best thing to do is take a PVC and kind of use it to help start the initial drill. And once you get it started, it's pretty much like the other one where you have a pre-drill hole in there, and you just lay the drill bit inside your pre-drill hole, and you just continue cutting and pouring water to keep the temperature down with the drill bit going through the glass. So yeah, the PVC, using it was probably the best recommendation. If you get anything out of this video, use the PVC to help drill you. Sounds really bad. Really bad. Anyway, but use the PVC to help give you a guide for when you're drilling. It helps. I didn't think it would, but man, it turned out looking really good once both holes were drilled. For some reason, I don't know why, but I did feel like when I was drilling the return holes for either side of the tank, it did end up taking longer. I don't know if it's just because I was hesitant using the PVC for the first time, or if it's a smaller drill bit, or if the bit was just used. I'm just going to go down and say the bit had been used several times and it was just kind of dull. So it's like a long time. It's like probably almost 15 minutes per hole to cut the return pump. Alright, I actually went back and left dinner. I don't even remember what we had that night. That was like a month ago. Anyways, but just make sure you have plenty of water on hand. Keep it cool. Just drill it. Just keep going. Don't put any pressure on it. You're going to know when you got through it. As you can see, it kind of like snaps. The water like catches and it stops drilling. So you just want to be aware when you get to the other side of the glass that you're getting close, so that you don't accidentally push down and you crack the entire tank. Just keep a nice, even pressure on it, and you should be fine when drilling the tank. Also, I wanted to note that this video is not sponsored by Taco Bell. I had Taco Bell, and I had their nacho fries that night, and it was wonderful. And I kind of wish they would bring the nacho fries back full time, because they are some good fries. And you know what I'm talking about if you ever had them. But anyways, I say anyways a lot. I really do. Anyways, I got both holes drilled, and I'm not going to show you because I've showed you before, but I ended up painting the back glass black on this tank. I don't know why. I just feel like black looks good on the background of a fish tank. You can argue with me all you want, but I just think black looks really good on the backside of a fish tank. And there we go. I got everything in, and I'm going to start plumbing. So what I'm doing here right now is I'm trying to install the unions. One thing I didn't do on my 125 is I didn't install enough unions, and I'm paying for it right now because I want to redo the plumbing. So I'm going to install unions basically anywhere and everywhere I can. So it's kind of a little setup, but I didn't want to put the backside of the tank like 6 inches away from the wall. I wanted to keep the tank as close as I could to the wall. So I kind of went with like this U design. I posted in a online Facebook group, and I saw someone do this, and I was like, I'm stealing that idea. And I did. Also, one thing I will recommend when you are using PVC, measure twice, cut once. Like, I'm not the type of person, I usually like to eyeball things, but when you're trying to get something to look good, it's best just to take your time. Alrighty, so the next thing I'm going to show you is a check valve. This is the bulk reef supply union check valve, and it's wonderful. Basically what a check valve does is it allows one directional movement of water, so in case you have any backflow, or in case of a power outage, water isn't siphoning from your main display into the return. Granted, you do want to have extra safety measures in place in case this were to fail, but it's just no precaution, and I really like the union version of this because it's easy to take apart and clean, and just get the union version. There's 2 different types. This is the one I prefer. Just have check valves. Don't use check valves from Home Depot because they're made of metal and they will rust over time. Alright, so now that I got the check valve installed, I'm going to show you right here what it looks like. I think this part turned out really well. As you can see, everything will go up, the water splits at that T, and it goes up. And then there we go. And so the next thing I'm kind of going to show you is the unboxing video of my Jabao, however you say it, return pump. Now, I have this pump on my 125, and I absolutely love it. It's quiet, and you can adjust the speed of it, and it is cheap. I paid like $70 for this or something. It was stupid cheap. I bought it off Amazon. I've had the other one for a year, and I've had no problems with it. So if you're looking to go cheap, with something nice, controllable, even have a feed function, go with Jabeo. I really love these pumps. It also comes with different adapters, so you can attach it to different size hoses. So you can attach just a different size hose. There you go. We'll get there, guys. And that's the return pump I am going to use. And then the next part I am going to show you how to plumb is the overflow box. Again, I am going with more union valves because you can't have too many unions. The first thing I pumped was the emergency overflow. Basically, the emergency overflow I kind of have drained into my refugium section of the pump. Didn't need to be fancy, just had to work. And then the second section I am plumbing is the primary overflow. Now the purpose of the primary overflow is to create a full siphon. I will show you in a bit how I set everything up in the back of the ESOP's box. But it's pretty simple. You have a primary and a secondary. Your primary takes 100% of your flow, and that's the one you can adjust. Your secondary is there in case your primary fails. And then you have your emergency, which basically just gives you a lot of checks and balances in case of failure. But other than that, I really like this setup. Also, one thing to note, one thing that I did not do, that I regret not doing enough research on, and I hope you watch this video and you learn something. When you do the overflow, make sure the water goes barely below the surface of the water. The problem I had originally was that I wasn't able to create a siphon because my primary was going down to the bottom of the tank, almost 12 inches of water. So they was having to push out too much air to create a siphon, so I was having trouble not getting the tank silent. But after some adjusting and cutting of that tube, it worked. So this is the back of what the tank looks like of the primary and the secondary. The primary and the secondary both go into the first chamber of my sump, and they take the bulk of all the overflow going into my sump. So the next thing I am adding here are, I really don't know what you call it, brackets, safety measure. I'd already glued the plumbing in at this point. I was going to show you that, but pretty much you just take primer and glue and you cement PVC together. It's pretty easy. Watch YouTube videos. They're out there. I'm adding some brackets on the tank so that you can, just kind of extra precaution. I really just want to make sure the PVC doesn't decide to fall. I know it is cemented, but you can never be too safe when plumbing. Alrighty, so now I'm going to show you how I am drilling my tank beam style. First thing you want to do is stick the PVC inside the tank, and you use a Sharpie to kind of measure. And then you take 4 90-degree PVCs, and you just glue them together, and you make your 2 shapes. You have one that's shorter and one that's longer. The shorter one is going to be your primary, the secondary is going to be your emergency. One thing you do want to do is drill a hole into the top of your secondary so that in case it doesn't pull a full siphon. If it pulls a full siphon, you will be pulling too much water from your main display into your overflow. Also, one thing I wanted to tell you, I love this overflow box. My main problem were the bulkheads. They weren't the greatest. I don't know why. For $150 what you spend on it, I wish it was better. What I ended up doing was I went to Home Depot and I bought $3 worth of those O-rings you see. I ended up inserting them there and it stopped the leak. It was leaking pretty bad, but it was an easy fix. Cost me $3, so no big deal. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Check out my Instagram, and remember I am doing weekly videos every Sunday, so go ahead and turn those notifications on if you want to see further build. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and keep on reefing.